Okay, so the more and more I wake up every day, I'm really concerned about the world we're living in. Not that I wasn't before, because I was,
Mhm.
but I feel like the tentacles are spreading because now we're revoking student visas for protests. We pardoned a whole bunch of people that actually were convicted of felonies, not just people out here just talking and making speeches. They actually broke windows, caused damage, changed whole security protocols as a result of their actions. But we're revoking student visas. Okay. Which is a tactic meant to intimidate anybody else who wants to speak out about what is going on in the world.
And then we have dog killer Christy Nome down in El Salvador celebrating the fact that we are sending terrorists to El Salvador and Guantanamo Bay while wearing a $60,000 Rolex watch. Yeah.
I didn't know that part. I didn't know
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah, she's wearing a Rolex.
In the jail, right? Because she was
Yeah.
in I think the snippet I saw was of her actually in the prison, surrounded by masked ICE officials or whatever.
Like the audacity and the inability to even think about any. I mean,
It's really the caucasity.
yeah, well, that's true. It absolutely is
Or
the Cassidy.
it's the caucasity of it all because I feel like they are growing more branches, legs, all the things to continue to slowly but surely try to 1984 us.
Mhm.
Intimidate people so they will stop speaking out. I mean, we're seeing it all over. We're seeing it in law firms. They had their
Mhm.
security clearances revoked, and then they're caving in order to keep those clearances or stay in the good graces of the Trump administration. Where are the people who are standing up to this foolishness? Because I'm going to say the majority of Americans are not in favor of this.
I mean, I would hope not. Unfortunately, the CBS didn't help us at all when they posted that poll where it said that, something like 70% agreed, or it might not have even 70%.
I remember, but it didn't have
Yeah,
proper context, and it was
right,
like
because
a
it was
snippet
and it was primarily Republicans that were
Bold. Yeah, but that's the propaganda machine, which hurts my journalistic heart because I have an undergraduate degree in journalism, in print journalism at that. And the shenanigans that are going on are just ridiculous. And I'm like, good for the Atlantic, though, for standing up and saying, let us come with our receipts. Let us
yeah.
just come with our receipts so we can help y'all. We're going to help the people.
And now they're all pretending like it didn't happen, even though it was confirmed, and we're not speaking to that.
Our little pretty girl press secretary,
Mm.
she came out outside the White House and was like, well, it was a mistake. They're kind of sort of acknowledging that it was a mistake now. No. No, see, that ain't a mistake. Balling up a piece of paper and throwing it in the trash can,
When it has something
important on it, that's a
semi-important on
mistake.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a mistake. That ain't a breach of security clearance. And meanwhile, Hegseth is like, no, this was done. No, this was done. Sir, what if the reporter had reported those things before they happened?
Yeah. Or what if the reporter had actually posted sensitive information?
That too.
Because there were a number of times in his article where he glossed over something because he was like, for national security reasons.
I'm going to censor myself.
Yeah.
But then did you see he's come back like another time and been like, well, no, let me post some more receipts. Y'all want to make like this is a joke and
Yeah. No.
but let me give you all a little bit clearer look at the thread as it was going down.
Like, and it seems to be lost on them, especially good old Pete, that they're putting actual lives at risk.
I think it's lost on them, LV. I really don't. I think they know exactly how bad this was, but propaganda, disinformation, discrediting the media, downplaying it, and they know their base will eat it up. They know their base will eat it up and their base will believe them. I believe they know exactly what they're doing. They know how serious that was. They know that if a Democrat had done that, or an independent, whomever, if anybody else had done that, they would have been calling for their heads.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, at the end of the day, but her emails.
I was just
But her
going to say,
emails.
but her emails.
But her emails.
And that tan suit.
I'm not even going to get into that, which looked really great. But yeah, but her emails. Meanwhile, I think I saw some news coverage, or maybe it was social media, where they showed all the officials who came out speaking about her emails.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what, 8 years ago or whatever it was, but the emails and how she should be vilified, she should be impeached, all these things, right? And then they juxtaposed it against those same people talking about the signal breach. And I was like, hypocrites.
And speaking of hypocrites, Elon, his PAC is giving $1 million, is basically doing a lottery. If you sign his petition, you get entered to win $1 million. Someone just won $1 million.
That's the craziest thing, but people will do it.
He's doing another one in 2 days.
People are desperate for money.
Yeah.
But also, there are people crazy enough to believe it.
But I'm like, how can you not? I mean, also, and mainstream media doesn't seem to be reporting about this very much, if at all. Trump signed an EO to change how the next election is run. That is.
I did see it on the news. I've seen it on social media as well. I think I saw it on NBC. I'm primarily an NBC girly.
Mm-hmm.
They did report on it. It wasn't like this in-depth report, but they did report on it. I probably heard more detail about it on social media.
Because they're glazing over it.
And I believe the news reported he can't just actually change election laws by himself. So
Right.
that's, all these executive orders, I think, are sometimes designed to scare us, overwhelm us, because some of them have absolutely no teeth and nothing can be done about them.
I mean,
They're just
Derek Chauvin.
Yeah, he just printed it. I mean, you're either going to pardon the man or you're not.
But I'm just saying, when you see all of these things combined, right? Musk is giving away $1 million. His PAC, the America PAC, is giving away $1 million to people when they sign up randomly. Lottery, getting rid of people that speak out against them. Elon, it seems like every day is getting yet another government contract. So how do you think that any of this is normal and okay?
Listen, David Koresh, Jim Jones, was it John Smith man out in Utah? I mean, that's how people get caught up. And Manson, this is how people get caught up. This is just on a larger scale and has more real world applications. It is not just some little corner of America, some sect. It is absolutely a huge swath of America because they voted for it.
Well, let me just tell you, I did not vote for this, and it's insane. It is absolutely insane.
I mean, let's be clear. I'm part of the 92%, and I'm resting. But I see it in action. I don't say I can see how it happens because I'm somebody who likes to read and understand and know for myself. But I think, I hate to say it, when we get to the national level of politics like this, it's who has the best show, the best messaging, shiny pretty, right? People are not always looking at substance, platforms, and a lot of it is perception. How are you perceived? And people perceived him to be a smart businessman. People better wake up. We're in a battle for the soul of this country. We are in a battle for the hearts and minds of people. And we need to be realistic about what wins the hearts and minds of people. And it is not always substance.
100%.
It is not.
You hear that all the time out of MAGA when you ask them to name an actual policy. They never can. It's, the wall and the border and, the people seeking asylum. They, dehumanize them when they speak about them. Eric Swalwell actually said on mainstream media that he wasn't 100% sure there would be a free and fair election. And he had not said that previously, but now he's not so sure. And that's terrifying.
Yeah, we should be very afraid.
Yeah, people are out there just living like it's totally normal and life, nothing is.
Absolutely. We should be very, very afraid. And especially if the midterms kind of turn things upside down, we should be very afraid for the 2 years after that and what's going to be put in place. But
because let's just say he somehow gets this through where the federal government takes over elections. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it will take brave souls from the inside who say this is not right. It will take also some Republicans who are willing to stand up and go, this is not right. This is not what our country was built on. While I have policy disagreements with the Democrats for independence, this is not right. Who's going to stand up and say this is not right?
well, I think it's going to be the women, Bernie Sanders, Chris Murphy, and Eric Swalwell. Also, Representative Stansbury out of New Mexico,
Mhm.
she stood up. She stood up and talked about what Elon was doing during some, I'm not 100% sure, what hearing it was, but she was asking the hard questions and bringing it all up. And I was like, it's the women and very select few men.
But
And they're not being loud enough because I know Garcia's in there too out of California. Like he's talking about it, but it's not getting through.
I don't know if they're not loud enough. It's that the message isn't
Isn't
being
right.
amplified. It isn't being amplified
Mm-mm.
by national media, local media. It's just not being amplified. And I think the Democrats have got to have a real strategy behind amplifying their message. And maybe going through mainstream media is not the right way to amplify the message at this point.
Clearly not, because mainstream media is not covering it.
Yeah, maybe it needs to be amplified on the ground level with independent media and really getting out there and going for it and putting people out, finding other young people who are social media savvy, who can articulate democratic talking points in much more simplified, less scholarly, aloof ways that really resonate with people, because that has been part of the messaging issue with the Democratic Party. Their message is not landing with people.
Well, I was just going to say, DNC, if you're listening, send some people our way. Yeah, we'll help get the message out. I'll even tag you,
That's why we call this At Me Later.
right?
Add
You
us.
can add us later. I will gladly work to get the message out in not a
Absolutely.
nice way.
So it's crazy. It's crazy. I am wondering, and I am paying attention very much to my local politics now. Like I'm really trying to dial into that to see how this plays out. I'm watching how it plays out I'm in Georgia, for those who don't know. I'm definitely watching how this plays out in the Georgia House and Senate because our session's almost over, right? Yeah, we have session toward the beginning of the year, and like we have a thing called crossover day. So that's when a bill has to cross over from the House into the Senate or Senate into the House in order for it to have any hopes of being considered and voted on this particular cycle, because our House and Senate do not meet all year. They are done within, I think, the next like 30 days, they're finished. And so we're Republican controlled, both houses and the governor's house, and watching them take some pages out of the Trump playbook in terms of like some Doge light things. Yeah. Yeah. That's what the news here is calling it, Doge light.
That's fun. Well, I mean, you
In
do
terms,
have Marjorie Taylor Greene, everybody's favorite, who got into a verbal altercation with British reporter.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I need to go look at that. You know, the thing here is like Ossoff is up during the midterms. It's his cycle to be up. And word on the street is she's running. So he's already running ads against her. However, I'm not so sure. I'll be honest. I think it potentially is a misdirection because word on the street is Brian Kemp is thinking about running. He is the sitting governor, and his term is up, which is a tougher race for Ossoff, I believe, than going against Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I feel like it's misdirection potentially, and I'm sure he's a smart young man. He is aware of that. So we shall see, but I'm very interested to see how this trickles down into local politics. I am in a very blue county that is very, very democratically controlled, but our House and Senate that hold the purse strings are very Republican control. And I'm sorry, the other thing I wanted to say about the Doge Light thing. So they're talking about Doge Light, but the Georgia House and Senate and governorship have been Republican controlled for probably about the last 20 years. So
they've just been okay with it?
you're going to root out your own waste. So you're saying you have been wasteful.
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me? Because Democrats have not held a statewide office since I think Michael Thurman was Secretary of Labor.
You
which
can't
was
make
years
this
ago.
shit up.
Yeah, so literally every statewide office, that's interesting. So they're looking to root out inefficiencies in government, but y'all have been controlling everything
Yeah.
in our
Right.
government for years. This is where we are, folks. This is where we are.
We're in an upside down world.
We are. I think it's
So,
the end days. That's a whole other conversation, but
well, all right, friends. Crap.
this is part of the week that was, friends. Part
Yeah.
of the week that was.
We knew this was going to be a week. I mean, I feel like we could have done 5 episodes a day just to cover everything that has
'Cause we
been
haven't
happening.
touched all the other things that are happening. We have
No, it's impossible. But we're keeping this bite sized. We're keeping it on things that are most important to us. So make sure that you like, subscribe, share, comment.
share.
Yeah, please do all the things because it really does help push us out. And hopefully we can really start getting a larger audience.
Make some noise and hopefully make a difference.
Yeah, this is important. We are speaking out against the threat to democracy.
And that's exactly what it is. Plain and simple.
No lipstick on that pig.
Not at all. Can't dress that up. Can't afford to dress it up at this point.
Nope.
We got to call a thing a thing.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. So, friends, yes, have a great weekend. We'll see you again on Tuesday. And don't forget, the A Collective Live is happening later tonight. If you are watching this the day it comes out, if you're watching it after Friday, the 28th, it already happened. So, sorry you missed it, but there will be more. And I guess, well, you can add us later.
Definitely. Santa's helper again. Let the record reflect.